Welcome to another episode of the SHESHED. I am super excited to see you in the building. We are here again to bring you another phenomenal young lady. Y'all know I just love bringing people on that I don't personally know, but that can connect with. And today we have Whitney Gardner, and she is the visionary behind the Bold Mama Co. And I know y'all are like, what is that? And I'm gonna let her tell you exactly what that means because I need all of us to show up as a bold mama, and she's gonna show us exactly what that is, regardless of where you are in the process, whether you have a newborn or whether you have a 35-year-old, you need to be a bold mama. Um, she is the mother of an 18-month-old little girl. She's married. And she has this mission that I can definitely get behind because y'all know how I feel about setting boundaries. I think that when you don't set boundaries for yourself, someone else will set them for you. And so you need to make sure that you are living the life the way you want to live it because you are a boss chick and I need you to show up as one every day. And we together was sitting and we was talking earlier, and she is calling what she does, and I love it, a life purpose instructor that helps moms set boundaries. So without further ado, I'm gonna pull her from the green room, and I'm gonna let her tell you more about what it means to be a bold mom and why boundaries are really important. Y'all hold on, let me go get her. Hey girl, hey.
Hi, I am so happy to be here today. Thank you so much for having me on. I am just so excited to be a part of your community and to help moms.
I'm excited that you said yes. I love the fact that when I reached out to you, you was like, absolutely. I was like, okay, that's my kind of girl right
That's
there. Yeah.
right. That's right. Never
So
turn down an open opportunity. You never know what's going to happen.
you never know. You never know. I mean, as I told you, I've already shared your information with my daughter, who is a new mom, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for her to get to know more about you and just what you're offering. I think is phenomenal. The other thing, though, I want to know more about Whitney. So tell us about Miss Whitney, and then I'm gonna ask you about your company.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually wanted to be an elementary school teacher growing up, and I always knew my purpose was to help others, to be a teacher, to be a guide, to be a resource. And throughout my whole life, I have been super into personal development. I am all about health and wellness and fitness and all of these different things. I actually had my own podcast back in 2020, and it was all for health and wellness for women. But then once I kind of decided, I'm not really sure if I want to do this, I became a mom. And then I realized, okay, I think that this is my bigger purpose is to help other moms. And I really wanted to get even more specific. So I already love personal development. I love health and wellness, but all of these different things are so general. I wanted to really have a specific niche where I could really help people in one area. So then when I reached out to people like yourself, I could be like, okay, this is the one area that I'm really specific on. And I asked like 10, 20, 30 different moms that I know. And I was like, hey, what are you really struggling with? And all of the same common themes all led back to setting boundaries. They all could use improvement with that. So I decided to, yeah, to be a life purpose coach and helper and teacher and mentor, all for setting boundaries. And then I decided my three main segments where you could categorize your boundaries and what's most important for moms is to have boundaries within your schedule, within your self care, and within your relationships. And these are the three pillars that have been super, super important to me as a mom and where I have really begun to thrive and be able to help other moms with these very specific concepts because within the boundary realm of self-care, it's very important that we take care of ourselves, not only physically with what we're eating, our exercise, getting outside. I'm into meditation, mindfulness, grounding. I'm a little bit spiritual, but I'm also um, into a lot of the physical health and wellness. But so it's important not only to focus on that, but also to focus on our mental health and wellness, self-care, and then also all those fun, girly things we like to do, like,
Absolutely.
going to the spa and taking long showers. And I'm just really an advocate for moms that self-care is really so important. And we all should never feel guilty about practicing self-care because we need to fill up our cup first before we can help somebody else. So
Absolutely.
that's the main pillar with self-care. And then within relationships, I personally have had some of the most intense struggles with this. I had to let my own relationship go with my own dad and with my own grandma because they just really were not serving me any longer. And I know that a
Mm,
lot of women hang on to relationships where the other person isn't serving them as much as they should be. And it's not a two-way street. We can't have that. And even when people are your family and they're close to you, it doesn't mean that you get to have them walk all over you. So that's one of the main things that I say is you need to let go of what no longer serves you because these relationships may not be good for you and your growth in the future. So that's a little bit about the relationship pillar. And then my final pillar is about your schedule because as a mom, we have so many things going on in our daily lives, like with the laundry, with the husbands, with the cooking, with the cleaning, with everything we have going on. And then plus, if you're a working mama, like shout out to you, like
mhm.
your family is going to be so grateful for your contribution to that household. And that's something that I'm really trying to realize is like me as a working mom and like doing all of this is like I'm providing for my family. I am setting a great example for my kid instead of thinking of it as like I'm selfishly taking time for myself. How can you reframe that to have it be where you're setting a great example and they can depend on you and they see that you are doing so many of these wonderful, amazing things. And you're able to not only have dreams for yourself, but you're able to help them with their dreams as well. And whatever she decides to do, I'm going to have the skills, the resources, so many things that people didn't teach me that I'm going to be able to now teach her because I am so into personal development and health and wellness. And I've spent hours reading and doing all these things and learning how to set boundaries. And I want to teach her how to do that too. So that's like my main purpose is to really be a great example for my baby so she can grow up and feel more empowered, confident, in control, calm, than I than I am right now. And so it's all a work in progress, but that's a little bit
I
about
love it.
others.
I love that. I love that. I love like there are so many things that you said, and I was taking notes. I don't know if you noticed. I was taking
Oh, I'm
notes.
so glad.
But one of the things that you said, I love that, the three different pillars, and you was talking
Mhm.
about, and I want to talk first about the self-care because I
Yep.
am a stickler for self-care. And I'll tell people all the time, getting your nails done and having a pedicure is not self-care. That's self-maintenance. Okay. You need to do that. Okay.
That's
Self-care.
right.
Self-care is that moment when you're taking yourself completely out of the picture and only focusing on you. Getting your nails done and stuff, that's great. That's wonderful. But as a woman, we need to do that all the time. But we do
Right.
need to take those moments to just, I call it still away to where you're nobody's wife, you're nobody's mom, you're nobody. So how do you do that? Like, what is your best form of self-care for Whitney? What do you do for that?
My biggest form of self care is definitely 100% my morning routine and setting my day up for success by taking time for myself unapologetically in the morning before my baby's awake. So, even this morning, I wanted to sleep in. So, I only had like 1 hour with that time. But in that 1 hour, I still drank my coffee in peace. I then read and then I did my meditation, I did my affirmations, and I did my gratitude. And really doing those like few things even within an hour really sets my day up for success because you really have to be the best version of you to give to everybody else. And so I truly believe that like even 1 hour of your day, that's like one of my favorite quotes I heard one time was give yourself 1 hour of the day so you can give the rest of the day to everybody else.
Oh, wow.
So I just love that. So even 1 hour of doing whatever it is to set yourself up for success. And a lot of this is like personal growth development and learning what truly works for you. But for me, it's really the mindset work and a little bit of that like spirituality that really has like pushed myself into that great like self-care state. And I'm learning that health and wellness is like the biggest priority for me to be able to set myself up
Absolutely.
best for self-care.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love one of the things you said, and you said it in another area too. So I'm going to talk about it. But you, it was like finding what works for you and realizing that everything that works for everybody else may not work for you. What's
Exactly.
going to really be your morning routine or your afternoon routine or your evening routine, wherever you decide to take that hour. I love that you said that. The other
Mhm.
thing is that we're going to jump to relationships. I love
Mhm.
that you said, I kind of loved everything that you said. Do you get that?
Really,
But I love
amazing.
that you said, I love when you said, when you're building boundaries around relationships, it may mean that you have to let some people go.
Yeah.
And it's not disrespect or anything like that. So can you share a
Mhm.
little bit about that? Like what was the, I don't want you to go into why you had to let it go, but
Mhm.
there's a process in that. There's a process to have
Yeah.
to mentally get yourself there. Would you share that process?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it for me was honestly it was almost like processing stages of grief in a way because you're realizing this person was in your life for so long, or maybe it's a friendship. I had somebody reach out to me the other day on social media like really upset that she was losing a friendship, and it is almost like you're going through stages of grief because you're losing somebody in a way, even though they're still alive, you're losing them in your life. And
Mhm.
so I learned a lot of this through my own journey with therapy and getting a therapist and having help. But it's not easy. You really just have to take things one day at a time and just really, I have a lot of tips for this on my social media as well, but a lot of things like, writing a letter and basically telling them like why they're no longer serving you. And you don't have to send it to them or not, but it's more like therapeutic for yourself to really like
Absolutely.
look at that and be like, even shifting your perspective to say, would I want my daughter around this person?
Right.
Or if they were going through this, would I want them to accept that type of behavior? And a lot of times the answer is no. Like, why am I allowing this for myself? Like, we have to be our own biggest advocates, but it's so hard when we want to please other people and put them first. And especially as women and givers and those people that are super empathetic like myself, like this was not easy. And this was like a huge journey that I had to go through was processing these stages of grief and figuring out ways that worked for me. But definitely the biggest one, how I really like let it go, was the last text that I ever sent to my dad, basically saying, um, that like you weren't there for me when I really needed you, and I'm no longer going to allow your behavior. Please don't reach out to me again. And I haven't heard from him in
Mm.
a couple of years now. But it was honestly the most therapeutic thing was just writing it down, saying exactly what I wanted to say, leave it all out on the table, and whatever they choose to do with it is ultimately up to them. And my biggest reminder is 90% of the time when you're dealing with somebody difficult, they don't know, they don't have the skills, the resources, or that personal knowledge to even be able to be the best in the relationship because they were never taught that.
Correct.
But that doesn't mean that you have to accept that type of behavior either.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And I just want, the family to understand and realize that Whitney is talking about it from a standpoint of being a new mom or being a mom, but that relates in every kind of relationship, whether your child is 2 months old or if it's 22-year old. Like sometimes you got to put those boundaries in place for those relationships. The third one you said was schedule. So tell me about the boundaries with scheduling.
So this was one of my biggest things I had to learn because as soon as I actually had my baby, I had to go back to work In addition to being the CEO of the Bold Mama Co., I also worked full-time for a college all online, and I was a financial analyst for them. So I was working full-time doing that, taking care of my child at home with me while I was doing remote work, plus trying to build the Bold Mama Co., and then plus all the other things I was doing. And it was really really challenging. And this is my last full week at work. I'm so grateful that I'm going to be able to dive deep into the Bold Mama Co. But the biggest thing that I learned with the scheduling is you have to figure out what works for you. But some of the best things that I've learned for myself, at least, are I actually have like almost an hour by hour calendar that I fill in with, in the morning, this is my time to do mindfulness. And then I do a walk, and then I take a warm to cold shower, and then I do get on a cute outfit normally, or whatever I want to do. And I have to schedule things in, especially with workouts. A lot of people don't like fit it in or want to make the time because they don't put it into their calendar. You need to, if it's something that's truly important to you, you should be scheduling it into your calendar and writing it down and holding yourself accountable. So I think that the biggest things for me have been like scheduling things hour by hour and writing things into my calendar and keeping myself accountable to like what's really important, and really having that ownership of like, if I didn't make this work today, it's because I didn't make the time for it. So really holding yourself
Mm,
accountable too, and realizing like if this is really important to you or not, you're going to make the time for it.
that's right.
And really being able to stay present once you're in that hour-to-hour schedule. And I know, okay, this is my time to work. Like I'm full on working, staying super present, because I know, okay, in another 2 to 3 hours, I'm going to have that time with my baby. And I really want to stay present with her to draw and do the fun things that she loves to do. But if you're trying to work and thinking about, oh, I should be with my baby, I don't know, I don't know the science behind it, but I was reading it in a book one time, but they were saying like when you switch tasks, or if it's like you're working and then you check your phone for social media and then you go do this, like switching those tasks, you're much more unproductive because you're not staying focused on one thing at a time. So
I
I found
agree.
that staying focused on one thing at a time too helps a lot with that
I
scheduling.
agree. I agree. I think that we have misled ourselves to believe that we can multitask. We're not good at multitasking.
We're not meant to multitask, and
No.
multitasking like can mean a lot of things. Like I think of myself as a multitasker in regards to I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm building the Mold Mama Co., and I used to work full time. Like that's multitasking, but day to day multitasking doesn't mean having to do 50 things at one time. That's not
Correct.
possible.
Correct. Correct. I agree. I was laughing with someone, a client, and she's like, "Yeah, well, I was folding clothes while I was watching TV." Yeah, but how long did it take you to then fold the clothes? Whereas it could have took you 10 minutes, it now took you an hour because you was actually watching
Exactly.
TV.
Exactly. That distraction. And there's also a difference with there's like a saying for it, but I think it's either like it's like passive versus active. So you could be doing two passive things at one time, but you can't be trying to do an active thing with another passive thing, if that makes sense. Like walking and talking on the phone versus trying to talk on the phone and write an email. Like
Right.
those are two like active things that you shouldn't be doing. So you could do like a passive with an active, and that's like a good form of multitasking, especially like in the morning. That's what I like to do is like with my grounding when I go outside and put my feet in the grass. I'll like eat a bowl of cereal or be listening to a podcast or something while I do it. But if I was trying to do something like intense with my meditative state, like that wouldn't work.
Right, right. Because there are certain things in life that need your undivided attention, right?
Exactly.
And I love the fact that you were saying, you said, you take the time for the time when it's work time. That's what you do. And when it's time for baby time, you do baby time.
Exactly.
Because those things need your undivided attention without the guilt. So how do you deal with, or how do you help your clients deal with the guilt of actually trying to play the two apart from each other? Because I struggled with that. I have 5 kids, but it was a long time ago. So it was
Woo.
so it was hard. It was hard to juggle that, right? So
Yeah.
how do you help them?
The mom guilt is real. I'm going to tell you right now. And especially as a working mom, and especially as somebody who's trying to do more than just a normal 9 to 5. Like that guilt is real, but kind of like I mentioned earlier, I think it's really important for your kids to see you as the best version of yourself. So when you can give out that good energy, your kids will feel that too. And if you have the skills and the knowledge to cope with like stress, anxiety, and all these different things, then they're going to be able to have the best mental state and the best energy. So I think really being able to flip that perspective of, okay, is this really something that I should feel guilty for, or is it something that is going to ultimately benefit them for, that I can
Mhm.
shift my perspective on. So I think really getting clear if it's something that you should really feel guilty for, if it's something that you don't feel like is ultimately benefiting them, or if it's you need to shift your perspective to make it where you're allowing yourself like that time. And that's kind of why I like to schedule things so strictly, is because, if you only have 1 hour of the day purely for yourself, then you shouldn't feel guilty about that at all when there's so many hours of the day that you're giving to everybody else. I hope that answers
Absolutely.
the question.
Yeah, it did. And I'm glad that you formed it the way you said it, because I totally agree. Like we usually skip still a couple of minutes here, still a couple of minutes here. And then we ultimately feel so guilty. Oh my gosh, I went to the gym. What? Like, no, if you said it and you say, I'm taking this time and I'm really going to focus on me for a moment, how much better of a
Mhm.
person are you going to be to everyone else around you?
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
love that you said that out loud. So the other thing I wanted to ask about is
Mhm.
you talked about, like, I loved your definition. It was actually on the TikTok I saw. But
Mm.
what is your the definition of what you consider a bold mom?
Oh, yes.
Bold
So a bold mama is someone who is the most confident, empowered, and self-assured version of herself because she is able to set boundaries. So like a lot of these things, like we were going over with the relationships, the self-care, the scheduling, like a lot of these things cannot thrive if you don't have boundaries around them and realize like what works for you and putting yourself first in all aspects of this. And being a bold mama really means like I'm putting myself first and I'm feeling good about that, and I am able to help others, and really having like an amazing perspective around the way that you view yourself. And I have so many different tips, tools, resources that I like to share about things and things that have worked for me. But going on that personal development journey and like a boundaries journey, it is a journey, and you need to be patient with yourself and kind. But I think always being a learner and being somebody who's open to change and learning what works for you is seriously like one of the biggest gifts that you could give yourself. And trust me, like I am far from perfect, and every day is something different and a new challenge, but it's all about coping with it and being like, how could I just be 1% better like tomorrow? Or what am I doing today to just step up a little bit? And in those drastic changes, or those little micro changes, will lead to a drastic change over time. It's not
absolutely.
about like all these things happening right now. You have to just like give it time and allow to that things come to you in the right time when you're in the right space for it. So a lot of these things that I've had to like let go of or say no, it doesn't all happen all at once, and it definitely doesn't happen when you're not ready for it, but you have to trust that the universe is going to give this to you when you're ready for it, and when you're ready to step up and make those types of changes. So it's a little bit of both too.
I love that. I love that. Um, so if you had to name one, because like you said, setting boundaries can be hard. I'm not going to say is hard. It can be
Mhm.
hard, but I think
Definitely.
we mentally make it harder than it is. You know, because I often tell people what people think of you. Because I don't want to say that. I'm gonna let you say that. But I think that setting boundaries can be hard. What do you feel is the biggest challenge that people have in setting boundaries?
I think it's realizing that they need to put themselves first. and that they are number one. And even though you are, a mom, ultimately my biggest goal is to have that day when my baby leaves me and goes off to college, that I'm not just sitting there being like, what happened to my life? What do I do now? Like, I don't want that to happen to me, because I want to feel so fulfilled every day for myself and being like, okay, this is something that I'm working towards, or a goal that I'm setting. And of course, I'm going to be super sad when she leaves me. But at the same time, I'm not going to be like, oh, I wish I could have done these things when she was gone, or now that she is gone, okay, what am I going to do with my time? I don't even know myself. So that's just something for me that I'm like trying to get to know myself and work on these things and really improve. So then when that date comes, I'm mentally like ready. And I know a lot of your listeners might already have babies that left, but it's never too late to start, doing things for yourself, and like trying something new that you think that might work for you too. And
Yep, you're right.
every mama out there, like you said, no matter if you have a newborn or if you're in the later stages, like my mom, like her and I are constantly texting about like personal development and different ideas, and like trying to collaborate on things. And it's just like setting boundaries is always going to be a journey, no matter where you're at in your motherhood. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that you pointed that out, and I'm so glad that you made it clear. Like, regardless of where you are in the process, you got to do that personal discovery, because
mhm.
every phase of your life, and I'm sure that you I could imagine that you had a different idea of who you was when your baby was 2 months old, as it relates to now that she's 18 months old. Like, it's a constant. You're different. You're constant, as she's changing, you're changing, right? So I love that you
Absolutely.
said that.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
every new stage is like a new stage for you as a mom, and being able to like realize that too. Like, one of my favorite things my friend told me is like, when your baby is born, like it's not just a baby being born, it's a mom being born, and you guys are going through these life transitions and challenges, and you're like parallel. You're like, I'm on my journey, but she's on her journey, and then it's just so fun to be able to like enjoy those different stages together, but you're both like on a journey of like discovery. And even when your kids are older, like my mom's still doing that with me, and she's like, once a mom, always a mom.
That's right. That's
I'll
right.
always still
Even
give you my advice, even if you don't want it. I'm like,
if you
thank
don't want it. I used to always, I still say, the same way that you are learning to be a 30-year-old, I'm learning to be a mom of a 30-year-old.
exactly. See, you guys are on your parallel journeys together.
Yep, yep. It's always something. So I love that you pointed it out, so we could see the different levels. And that's one of the reasons why I was drawn to you.
Oh,
Is I'm all about setting boundaries, because here's the thing, and I say this all the time, and I know that my followers are tired of hearing me say this, but takers don't have boundaries. So you have to have one as a giver. They don't have boundaries. So you have to have them. So you have to have them for you and them. Right? And
100%.
so being able to set that boundary is key, is paramount. So if someone is listening and they are wanting to get in contact with you, well, first of all, I'm gonna put your information up here, but that
Oh,
wasn't
thank
where I was going with this. um, so here is Whitney's information. Like she said, it is the Bow Mama Co. And she
Yes.
is on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And let
Mhm.
me tell y'all, those videos are, you just keep strolling. It's like you keep strolling. It's like, oh, that was good. Oh, that was good. Like, you just keep
I'm
strolling.
so
But
glad to hear it. Oh, it's making my day. I love it so much. On Facebook, I'm under Whitney Gardner, but you can still follow me. I don't share a ton of content, but that's one of the best places that you can go to connect with me. If you want to like Facebook message, I'm happy to do that. And then yeah, on Instagram and TikTok, I'm super content heavy, and I give a lot of free tips, resources. I have a really good free resource right now on Instagram through my link. Um, I think it's 5 unapologetic boundaries that every mom must set if you sign up for my email list. So that would be a great resource that's free, like through a digital space as well.
absolutely. And listen, y'all, when you go and you click on her TikTok or her Instagram, like it, follow it, okay? Do those things. Do not just say, I don't know why did that pop up. But when you go there, do not just go and look. Like the information. This is how we get ourselves out there on these platforms. You have to have interaction with the people that come in. So make sure you're liking it. Leave a comment. This was
Mhm.
good. Thanks, Whitney. Say something so the algorithms will pick up what she's putting
Yeah.
down. Okay. So I just want to put that out there because everybody don't know
Thank
what to
you.
do. You
I
just some people
know.
just keep strolling. Like, don't just stroll.
Yeah.
Say something.
And if you send me a message, I will definitely respond. I love interacting and connecting with other audiences and listeners. So um, I am happy to do that too. Or if you're like, hey, I'm having this issue with this, like I'm happy to help. And I just love connecting with other people.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So, who is your ideal client?
So my ideal client, I'm still kind of figuring it out, honestly. I'm open to basically anyone who is a mom that wants to learn how to set better boundaries and who wants to improve in their life and is open to learning new things and just wants to improve herself and put herself first.
I love it. I love it. I love talking to you. You
I love
call it a bowl mama. I call it a boss. It's same thing, right?
yeah.
So, for many of you, I need you to realize and understand that we're saying the same thing, just using different words. She's
Yeah.
talking to those young moms, really,
Hmm.
that because it is hard when it's your first, or that first child. You have kitten gloves. You're trying to do everything perfect, and you forget who you are. And
Yeah.
what Whitney is saying, don't forget who you are, right?
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
loved, and I have to admit, well, I'll say this in my closing in full term, but I have to admit, you're right. We can get so caught up in being a mom that we forget who we are, right? So,
Yeah.
what is the boundary? I'm gonna ask this question, and then I'm gonna close us out. But and then anything else you want to say, of course. But
Okay.
what is the boundary that you would say you're the most proud of setting for yourself and your family?
I love this. I would say it's 100% the way that I took care of myself after I had my baby. I hired a fitness trainer right after I recovered properly from postpartum. I am now doing weight training. I actually just had to buy new weights because I'm getting so strong. And I definitely think that it's the fitness journey that I've had after I had my baby, because my goal was always to look better than before I had her. And I'm at that. And I'm already back into all my old clothes and just feeling great. It's like about that strength of, I don't want to be that mom that can't carry them around the pumpkin patch if they don't allow a stroller. So it's just a thing for me that I want to feel super strong and like great when I'm around her. And I'm obsessed with weight training. And I ran a 5K when she was, I think, like 9 months. I was like 9 months postpartum. So that was like one of my biggest accomplishments, was doing that run and then doing weights. And then I've always been into like Pilates and other forms of like workouts. But I think the way that I've put my fitness journey like first and really taken that time, I think that's probably the biggest boundary I'm most proud of, is like always making that time to work out if it's something that's important to me that day.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that for you. I do. I love that for you. Congratulations, Miss Whitney. I love that. I
Yeah, it
even
was
love the
awesome.
way you smile as you talk about it, because I think
I love
that
it.
that is so key. We, as
Yeah.
women, we need to find that one thing that is just ours. It's not for the husband. It's not for the baby. It's
Yeah.
just ours. And I love that for you. I love
Thank
that for you.
Yeah, it was one of
Congratulations,
my
man.
most proud accomplishments, was like running to the finish line after my 5K, and like I did it under 30 minutes, which was like my goal. And I was just sobbing, and it was awesome.
Oh, yeah. So if you had to close out and tell the family anything that is pertinent for you and them, what would you say?
I would just say that you're doing a great job, and being a mom is not easy, and we all have our struggles and we all go through it. But the reason that we are able to go through it is for people like Tina and myself, who have, like, we're sharing these resources, and we're so lucky to be in this day and age where I can go on something like TikTok or Instagram and like just share information about it. Like, I know my mom felt so like she let herself go. And like, that's a lot of the reason why I do what I do. And I never want any moms to feel like they don't have the resources or the support or the community to be their best selves. And that's why people like us are here. So if you're, struggling or wherever you're at, like, people like us are here to connect with you and share our love and tell you that you're really doing a great job, and it's not easy, but we're here for you and we'll do the best we can to support you.
I love it. I love it. Okay,
I
don't
do
don't
that in a
go
lot of my
anywhere.
videos. I say, hi.
I know. I saw that. So don't
That's
go anywhere.
right.
Hold on a moment. I want to come
Hearts are
back and talk to
totally
you,
my
but let me
thing.
close out. Huh?
Hearts are my thing.
Yes. Okay, hold on. All right. There you go. Whitney did it. I mean, I freaking love her. I mean, she's like one of my kids now. I don't care what nobody say. But anyway, so one of the things, a couple of things that she did say that I want to bring up and bring to your awareness is try things out. One of the things that Whitney said was, you're not going to get it right the first time. And that's okay because it is a learning process. You have to go through the trial and error. You're not going to get it right. Nobody does it right the first time except for a genius. And we don't have many of those. Okay. So whether it's raising a child, whether it's starting a business, whether it's writing a book, whether it's cooking a cake, it might not come out the right way the first time. The problem is don't give up. That was one of the things that she was saying. She put it on her calendar, and even if she didn't do it the best that one day, the next day she made a promise to be at least 1% better. Like that's all we have to do. Just try to do better the next day. Okay. The other thing that I love is making sure that you are surrounding yourself with individuals who have your best at heart. They should be giving you reciprocity. You should not be around individuals that's pulling away from your energy because you need all your energy for whether it's your baby, whether it's your business. Because for some of us, our business is our baby. So you may need to pull away so that you can take care of your baby, whatever your baby is. The other thing is, again, putting it on the calendar. If trust me, and y'all have heard me say this before, if two things, if you have put it on your calendar and it's not getting done, it's probably not a priority in your life. If you have put it on your calendar and you have not done it, it's probably not a priority in your life. So you need to check and find out why you even put it on your calendar. Then the other thing you need to realize, it will never be a priority if you don't put it on your calendar. So make sure that you realize and you understand that. And then the last thing that Whitney said was when she was talking about her being a teacher, realize this: when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. You cannot put a kindergartner in a college class. They're not ready for that. And if you put a college student in a kindergarten class, they're going to get bored. So whatever you need in life, when you're ready for it, it's going to show up in your life. Remember, you are the CEO of your life. You are the CEO of your own life, and your life is your business. That is your first business. I don't care what figure you in. Your life has to be your first business. You have to make it your priority so that everything else will align with it. Remember, you are the CEO. So you get to demote, promote, or terminate anything that is no longer serving you for your better good. It's okay to dismiss people and give them a pink slip and let them go their way. It's okay. They may be a better fit for someone else. And you could be holding up the one that is designed to come into your life by holding them there. All right. I love y'all. And thanks again for joining us in the She Shed. And we'll see you next week. Bye.